Hello Kaisercrafters, it's Alicia here, and today I'm showcasing one of Kaisercraft's amazing products, the DIY Cuts, die cutting and embossing machine. Let's talk about some of the features of this machine. Firstly, you can see it has a spinning handle at the side, which you use to turn the plates through the machine. Secondly, there's a handle at the top, which you can use to carry or position your machine. Thirdly, at the base of the machine, there are 4 pads that help secure the machine to the tabletop. When you purchase your DIY cuts, you receive plates to use. Let's take a look at the plates that come with this machine. This first plate I'm holding here is called a base plate. It is white in colour and the thickest plate out of all the plates. It goes at the base of the stack of plates when you are using the machine. The second plate I am holding is called an adapter plate C. It is the thickest transparent plate. The third plate is called the cutting plate B, and you receive 2 of these cutting plates in the box when you purchase a DIY cuts machine. The last plate is called a metal adapter plate. Now you can see all the plates together on the machine. We have the base plate, the adapter plate C, the cutting plate B, and the silver metal adapter plate on top. You position these plates in different orders depending on whether you are die cutting or embossing. Now that we have discussed the features of the DIY cuts machine, let's move on to some of the techniques it can be used for. Firstly, let's look at die cutting. To begin with die cutting, you need a decorative die to cut your cardstock or paper with. Let's take a look at some of the die cuts, the decorative dies I have here. I've got the rose cluster, the whimsical circle frame, arrows, oriental fan, Christmas lamppost, Hanami flowers, family words pack, holly pieces, nesting scalloped stitched ovals, and the cutout textures. Kaisercraft produce such a wide variety of decorative dies, and this is certainly not the whole collection. It's just a sample of some of the ones that I have in my craft room. Another product that works beautifully with the DIY cuts machine is the stamp and decorative die set. These packages come complete with a collection of clear stamps and matching decorative dies. This is the snowflake and stars set. This one is called Oriental. This is Romance. And this is the new Make-A-Wish collection. So today I'm going to choose one decorative die and one decorative die and stamp set to demonstrate how the DIY cuts machine can be used. When die cutting with your DIY cuts machine, you will be using a cutting plate B. If I position my 2 B plates like this, you can see the matching thickness of the B plate. When you put it up against the C plate, you can see the difference in the thickness. The C plate is a lot thicker than the B plates. When die cutting, the C plate can be positioned at the top of the layers of plates to prevent curling of the plates. So the order of the die cutting sandwich would be base plate, B plate, C plate. This is an example of what a curled plate can look like. and this is generally a result of using the B plate at the top of the die cut sandwich. To prevent this from happening, it's best to rotate your plates one side and then the other, and to keep the C plate at the top. So the order again is base plate, B plate, decorative die with cardstock, and then the C plate on the top. Now what I like to do is I like to add in the metal adapter plate. I find if I face the die cut onto the metal adapter plate, it stops my acrylic plates getting damaged by the dies. So for my order, I have the base plate, the B plate, the metal plate, the die cut and the cardstock facing down onto the metal plate, and then the C plate on the very top. This prevents my acrylic plates from getting that scratched look from the dies. The metal adapter plate also helps the cardstock release more easily from the decorative die, especially if it is a more intricate design. So I've got the base plate, I've got the B plate, I've got the metal adapter plate, and then the C plate on the very top. Then I simply wind this die cut cutting sandwich through my DIY cuts machine. While here, I wanted to point out a very useful tool that can be used with the DIY cuts machine, and that is the Kaisercraft die release tool. It has a sharp pointy end on one end and a flatter, blunter end on the other, and it is really useful for popping out the tiny little bits of paper from the die cut. So that was die cutting technique number 1. Let's now move on to technique number 2, stamping and die cutting. So I thought it'd be nice to use the Make-A-Wish collection and use these beautiful fairy wings with the matching fairy decorative die. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the clear stamp off the acetate packaging. I'm going to place that onto an acrylic block, and I'm going to sand it. Because it's a new stamp, I'm just going to give it a little bit of a sanding to make sure that the image is nice and sharp. Then I'm going to ink my stamp with just some black Kaisercraft ink. And stamp it onto some coconut cardstock. Isn't that beautiful? The next step is to find the matching decorative die, position it accurately on top of the stamped image, and secure the die with some washi tape. This prevents the die from slipping around in the machine and gives an accurate cut. I'm going to be using the same cutting sandwich that I used before, which will be the base plate, the B plate, metal adapter plate, the decorative die and cardstock, and finally the C plate. Then I simply roll that through the DIY cuts machine, pull it out on the other side, remove the cardstock from the die and the washi tape, And my fairy wings are now cut out. Die cutting is a fabulous way of adding extra embellishments to cards and layouts in the paper of your choice. Now we're going to move on to the third technique, embossing. Now let's talk about embossing folders. Again, Kaisercraft make a great range of embossing folders to use with your DIY cuts machine. Here we have flowers, tiny dots, postmarks, diamond tiles, stone, foliage, little floral, anchors, blocks, moon and stars, flourish, card fronts and sheet music. Today I'm going to use the flowers embossing folder. Once you have opened your package, you'll see that your embossing folder flips out like a card, and inside it has the imprint of the design. You take a piece of cardstock and put the cardstock inside the embossing folder. And now we're going to place it into the DIY cuts machine. The recipe I use for the embossing folder sandwich is base plate, B plate, metal adapter plate, embossing folder and cardstock, and B plate on top. Then simply wind this through the machine. Pull it out the other side. And open your embossing folder to reveal your embossed pattern. You can then take an ink pad and just very gently swipe the ink pad over the embossed cardstock, and that just enhances the pattern on the card. And that completes our embossing technique on the DIY cuts machine. So in this video we have discussed the features of the machine, we have discussed the technique of die cutting, the technique of stamping and die cutting, and the technique of embossing. I hope you found this video helpful. Remember to like and subscribe to the Kaisercraft channel, and hop on over to my own YouTube channel, which you can find in the links below. If you have any questions or other tips that can help people using the DIY cuts machine, please feel free to put those in the comments below, and have a crafty day.